In this video, we'll be ranking every one of Peacekeeper's unique executions. If you don't know me already, I'm a Rep 80 Peacekeeper main with way too many hours in this game, so I think I'll know which ones look good and which don't. We're going to go strictly based off of finesse and aesthetics. We don't care about health here, honestly. Just run Devour or something way quicker than your final defaults. But if you enjoy this video, feel free to go ahead and drop a follow, leave a like. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's go ahead and get into it. So here is the tier list. I'm going to go ahead and link this in the description in case you want to make your own version. There are 19 unique executions in total for Peacekeeper, and I took screenshots within the moment of each one. So we're going to rank these all the way from S to D tier, S being the absolute peak of Peacekeeper, Peakkeeper, I would say. You're going to run these and look absolutely beautiful while you're slaying, all the way down D tier, which I think are just going to be the really boring ones that lack the finesse of her kit. Obviously, she's very complicated, skillful, guys. Come on. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start ranking these Xyz. So up first, we have Good Form. This will run you 7,000 steel. It's one of her pricier executions, but I think it is definitely worth it. This is a great one to start off with because it has that finesse to it. It has her movement. You go first for the gut stab with a dagger. Then you get that neck pierce with her longer arming sword. I mean, come on. That's about just as good as it gets. And you can see once I switch perspective, there are some amazing screenshot angles you can get with this one. She tilts her sword up. There you go. Tilts her head back, and I feel like that is one of her best poses as far as screenshots go in the game. When you're actually fighting, it's going to look very good on both sides. Obviously, this is the attacker's angle. This is the original angle that you'll see. If you run, let's say, flowering with the type of drip I'm running, it's going to look very nice. I feel like this is a pretty solid one to go ahead and put in A tier. I think there's some that have more movement to it that are way more effective and look prettier, but this is a pretty good one to start off with, so I'm happy with this ranking. Next up, we have Led to the Slaughter, and this is one I constantly run for Peacekeeper. It's one of her default executions, but I think it's very clean, very quick, gets the job done, and looks pretty great while you're doing it. You go for a quick stab to the shoulder, knock them down on their knees, and then finish with a decapitation. I think the decapitation kills always look pretty nice. Very solid with this one. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in B tier. I think it's really fast, looks great, and on top of that, you know, it's a default. I feel like the default executions are more of a baseline for what everything else should be. So, yeah, pretty good. Obviously, you don't have to pay for it. That's always a plus. So, yeah, there you go. Up next, we have Stool, and I gotta say, this is one of my absolute favorites. It goes for 7,000 steel, and it's worth every bit, let me tell you. You go ahead, go for the bash, throw the dagger, roll over and pick it up. I mean, come on, this is just cool, bro. Like, look at this. This is from the attacker's perspective. Yeah, and you roll off out of frame. I've gotten some of my best screenshots of this, and also there's a bunch of funny moments you can get depending on who you're fighting when they have their legs up in the air. That's actually the one, I got a perfect screenshot when I went ahead and made this video, where you can see it right here. I mean, this has to be an S tier. Super flashy, gives a good bit of health when you're running Devour too, I will say. I wasn't really going to talk about the health advantages, I said that, but aesthetically, I mean, come on, dude, this is peak. Okay. It's not my personal favorite for her. We will get to that, but I always have it on one of my outfits. It is just an absolutely beautiful execution. Highly recommend. If you're going to go ahead and get a bunch of executions for Peacekeeper, this is in my top 3 must-haves. I know I'm going to absolutely butcher the pronunciation for this. We're going to call it Mobile. This is going to cost you 7,000 steel, and I think this is a pretty flashy execution. But for me, it lacks that little something to put it in S tier. As you can see, you dodge under their attack, looks a little slow. You get a stab straight through the neck, slits through the throat, and you pull the dagger out of their bag for the finish. I'm not sure what is about this execution that isn't doing it for me. I think it might be the slowness of it, or the fact it's just like a little rip out the neck. Let's go ahead and swap the perspective so you see it from the attacker's point of view. Yeah, for me, it just looks a little bit slow. I really do like it, and I think at the end there, that little look she gives is very cool, very nice. However, I don't think it gives it enough to go in S tier with something like Stepping Stool. See, I did capture this perfect moment of the blood splatter out of the neck. I thought that looked really nice, and you could definitely do some cool effects with it with Peacekeeper looking up with the blood everywhere. Screenshot potential for sure. I feel like that's what's putting it in A tier for me. Overall, good execution, but I will say there are definitely better ones that you could buy. Now we have the Wingbreaker, and hot take, I find this execution kind of mid. For 7,000 steel, I was expecting a bit more. It definitely, I I think the position of her blades are very cool, right? She stabs dagger into one shoulder blade, jumps up, hits the other, and it just feels slow to me. This is another one where I feel like it doesn't showcase Peacekeeper's finesse and kind of shows more brutality. Here it is from the attacker's perspective. Like I said, it just, that part right there, it isn't doing it for me. I think you definitely could get screenshots out of this. However, I don't even like it as much as some of her default executions. I think for me, this is my least favorite Peacekeeper execution. I might get some hate for this one, but I'm putting it in D tier. I mean, you're paying 7,000 steel, and I would rather have literally anything else than a couple stabs in the shoulder, you knock them on their knee, and you just kind of kick them. I mean, come on, there's even better kicking executions than that you can get that are universal. So for me, this is my lowest ranked one. I'm not sure if anything else really is going to end up in D tier here. I'm rating these as we get to them. But yeah, this one is like, just for me, kind of not there. Let me know in the comments what you think about this particular execution. Next up, we have Over Under, another one for 7,000 steel. I think this one is very fun. So as you can see, super quick, you actually flip over the attacker. It looks like here, you get you pull the sword out once you get the XE prompt, then you get a quick slice at the neck. This one is pretty fun for me, a lot of movement. We're gonna go ahead and look at it from the attacker's perspective. Yeah, as you can see, there you go. That end pose, by the way, for me, is so clean. Like, that execution just does a lot for me. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put it also in A tier. I don't think it's an S tier one. I think there's some more flashy ones that kind of cover that, but it's pretty solid. I really like it. Now, up next, we have the Sacrifice. This is Peacekeeper's second default execution, and it's a little slower for the first one, feels a little clunkier, and for that reason, I just don't find it as good. Now, depending on who you ask, you'll hear people say this one is better. Of course, you get the kidney stab. Every Peacekeeper loves to take a little bit of kidneys, but I still feel the other one is just simply better. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to put it slightly below. I'm gonna put this one in C tier. And I know I can already feel the hate I'm gonna get for rating some of these like this, but like I said, this is my honest opinion on what y'all should be running, so feel free to hate me in the comments. Here is Skill Cut. I bought this one for 7,000 steel, and I gotta say, this is the definition of precision. If you want to show off with PK, I mean, this is it. I feel like this is one of her coolest executions, and it does get a little glitchy at times when the dagger goes to stab the person's head in the air, but I mean, come on, this is Aura, straight up. You look super cool doing this. I do not care what anyone says. This can make some of the best screenshots I've ever seen in For Honor. So it's going straight up into S tier. I absolutely adore this execution, and I highly recommend getting this one. I mean, come on, you kind of have to. I mean, the dagger stab mid, I'm glazing. I just gotta say, it's cool. Here we go. This is by far my favorite Peacekeeper execution. I mean, come on. The voice line, are you kidding? I've seen so many screenshots of this. I've seen on For Honor's page, I think it was in the screenshot contest. This execution actually was one of the winners, like one of the front runners. I run this on everything. I feel like it's iconic running her crossbow on Peacekeeper. It's in her feat kit. I mean, how are you going wrong with this? Look at that. It is the best for screenshots. It's the best for effects. Literally, the enemy, as you can see, their hero is staring at the camera when they die with a crossbow bolt through their head. And Peacekeeper just looks incredible while doing it. Takes the daggers out the end. I've even gotten screenshots of her holding the dagger and sword behind her back. I mean, there's just so much potential here. Look at that. I feel like this is Peacekeeper's. It's my personal favorite. I think it's her best. You can even see from the screenshot I took here, just in the menus, you can get some amazing blood splatter comboed with effects. I mean, it's the best. What can I say? If you even want to talk about stats, it gives amazing HP. Does take a while to kill, but honestly, I think it's worth it. If there's any one execution in this tier list I can say is a must buy, it's going to be this one. Just straight iconic. If y'all couldn't tell already, we're getting into the peak section of this video. Next up, we have Olay for 7,000 steel. And this one is going to be the one tied, I feel like, for the crossbow execution for the best. Look at that pose. With the swords I'm running, you can really see how good this is. I mean, bro. Look how fast it is. Stab, stab, stab. Gonna go ahead, whip out the dagger and the sword, and finishing with that pose. I mean, it really doesn't get better for this. I honestly don't know why I haven't bought it. I have a serious steel spinning addiction. Actually, I know why. I'm trying to get every material for her right now. It's not going well. This is gonna be another S tier. I'm actually gonna put it over Stool right next to the crossbow because I see people talk about how these two are the best for her. The ending pose is just way too cold. I feel like with it not having the voice line that the crossbow one does, I mean, that puts it slightly below for me. But let me know. I think that's just absolute peak. Next up, we have Nightingale Guillotine, and I gotta say, this is a pretty fun one. You hit the double knee with the decapitation, pull out the dagger at the end, and she does a little flip with it. I mean, come on, this one is pretty nice. I don't think it's gonna make it to S tier just because of the ones we already have there are just so clean. But I mean, this is gonna go top of A tier. I feel like this is a pretty solid execution. I find it very fun to watch, and I feel like it just has a little step above the other ones in A tier. So I would say, yeah, definitely a good one to get. I think there's still 4 that are way better to own, but very nice. Instant Regrets is corny. I'm going to be the one to say it. You stab the sword and dagger into the thighs. I think that's a really cool concept. And then you just kind of giggle and kick your feet at them. I don't know. To me, I mean, I get it's funny, right? Like, it's a humorous execution. But, like, I don't like it. The decapitation's really cool. The pose at the end, you could definitely get screenshot potential with. But I'm gonna be honest, I would not pay 7,000 steel for this unless I was making a meme compilation. Like, I just don't... It's not me. Like, to me personally, this is just not good. For that reason, I'm putting it in D tier. Like I said, I just find it really corny. I do think you could do a lot with it, but, like, I don't care. I don't like this one. This is a fun one for 7,000 steel. We have Disarmor here. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you literally just chop off their arm and then stab them through the neck. I mean, this is kind of a crazy execution. It's really fast, which I like. Let's go ahead and look at it from the attacker's perspective. Yeah, pretty solid. I think it's clean, gets the job done. However, I think it could be a little better. So I'll go ahead and put this one in B tier. It's going to go above C tier just because I think the sacrifice, it's really slow. As you can tell, I like fast executions that go ahead, get the job done quick, unless they have like a ton of flair to them. This one, less flair, a lot of speed. Also, cutting off their whole arm is pretty cool. Sprightly Skewer is one of her newer ones, and I think it's absolutely brutal. If you look at the way she goes for like a little stab at first, right? Bam! Absolutely shoves them straight into the dirt. I mean, I feel like this one really captures a sense of brutality that some of the other executions don't. I mean, just look at the blood spat. Like, the blood splatter's crazy. It literally is taller than Peacekeeper, which, okay, that's not hard to do. But, like, come on now. I feel like that's a really good one if you're going for visual effects. I'm gonna go ahead and put this at the top of B tier. I don't think it matches up to the executions we have in A tier. However, it is still very quick, very nice, and like I said, the effects you can get on that are just incredible. Now, Deadly Embrace, I already know this is going to be a hot take. Let's look at it. So you go ahead and grab them and go behind them with the dagger, go for the throat slit, right? I feel like it looks really cool. However, some heroes, this just looks really goofy with. I'm not going to lie. Imagine doing this with Shigoki, for example, okay? Like, it's just really funny. However, I do like it. It's pretty loved in the community for a lot of reasons. The perspective doesn't shift much with this execution. That's the one thing I really don't like. I feel like they could have, like, done something a little cooler, something more. And this is where I know it's gonna get really interesting. I'm putting this at the top of B tier. It just doesn't make it to A tier for me. I'm not sure what it is about this execution. Maybe... I'm not sure. Like I said, it doesn't do it for me. Don't get me wrong. I think it's really cool. You're behind them. Great screenshot potential. But, and like I said, it's not, something's missing. You know what I mean? Probably not. But, you know, like I said, it's going to stay in B tier. I think it is worth it. It kind of depends on who you ask how good this is. I like it, but not as much as everything else on the list. So Precision Onslaught for me is probably one of Peacekeeper's best fast executions. I mean, look at this. You quickly spin around him, 3 stabs to the back, flip the dagger, you're gone. Already out of the fight with a bunch of HP. So, I feel like this one, it's one that if you want to be, like, a little more competitive, you should get. I do think it also shows off PK a lot. And I'm gonna have to put this one probably bottom of A tier. I feel like this is one you could put in B or A and be fine with either of them. I think it's better than the fast default one. And for that reason, I feel like it has a little bit more above. On top of that, the look away, I feel like in the flip a dagger in the air is pretty clean. You can get some great screenshots with that. Yeah, overall, very solid. And yeah, love this one. I'm going to try to pronounce this one. Errantia, Lumina, Fallunt. I hope that's close enough. 7,000 steel, and this is one I really like. You throw the sword at the ground, you kick them over, chop off their head. I also like the little aerial action you have going on here. It's a little slower, I won't lie, but I feel like it's at least pretty realistic with it. I mean, if you're doing crazy spins in the air, you're not going to have the precision you need for that kick or to go ahead and get the sword down. And it, I mean, obviously she's a smaller girl, but come on, you can definitely land that. Look at that. Boom. I really like this one. Also, that sound you have, I feel like is really crisp. For that reason, this is going to go bottom of S tier for me. I feel like it absolutely slams the rest of the A tiers we have and is up there in the must-buy category. See, I know we have 5 executions in S tier, but I feel like that's just how good some of these are. And that's why there's 3 outfit slots. You'll be able to run every single one of these if you want. So I feel like this is definitely one that is worth buying. Alright, Trepanation's up next, and I gotta say, I really don't like this one. I feel like it does have a lot of finesse here, but in my opinion, I mean, look, you're struggling a little bit, right? Makes sense. And it looks like he grabs her wrist, and she, like, flips the dagger out, gets advantage, and then finishes. To me, it's a little messy. I don't really like it that much. I mean, couldn't he just kind of, like, keep her wrist in place, or, like, pull her down? I mean, if you think about it, Peacekeeper's kind of like, I guess, a weaker character? I don't know. Look, it is cool shoving the dagger through the head, I won't lie. But to me, I mean, bro's grabbing the sword. Like, this just doesn't make much sense to me, in my opinion. I just don't like this execution. I feel like it's flawed in a way, and they could have done it better. I don't know. For me, it's going in C tier. Like I said, it feels clunky, you know? Like, I feel like with the character with so much finesse, this isn't one that really shows that off. Doesn't show off her moveset, none of the feats. I mean, at this point, just give them a last laugh bomb, make their head explode or something. I don't know. Like I said, not my personal favorite. Let's go ahead and move into the very last execution. For the last execution in the video, we have Sunday Roast. Now, this is only going to cost 5,000 steel. It was her most recent one with the Hero Fest. And I gotta say, for a fast, clean execution, I really do like this. And for one particular reason, the aura. You just stand over them and look super cool. I gotta say, I really like this one. I think it's nice and fast. Any decapitation, I think this game are cool. Kind of have like that ham bone neck thing going on. Pretty funny. I'm not gonna put it too high. I feel like there's executions that do the decapitation better. For that reason, I'm gonna put this top of B tier. And that is going to be it for the tier list. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you liked, followed, and if you want to see me use some of these executions live, feel free to check out my Twitch. I have everything linked in my profile. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to give your opinions in the comments. And like I said, everything is going to have timestamps. And if you even want to make your own Peacekeeper execution tier list, that'll be linked in the description too. I hope you have a wonderful morning, night, wherever you're tuning in from. And yeah, I'll see you around.